All right, good afternoon. Welcome back. 12:32 on the clock. It is still indeed your home of conversations, information, and entertainment. It's all right here on Lagos Talks 91.3. You're rocking with me, the Big P, Paula Chine. I have an amazing guest now. It is time for parenting today, where we get to learn and unlearn how to parent. Now, we may have been doing things with good intentions and saying, oh, this is how I was raised. But do you know that the times have changed? Some things that we feel are wrong, or rather are right, are actually wrong. So you can learn and unlearn, as well as gain inspiration as regards just being a better parent. So many people would say, oh, I'm not yet a parent. You can plan ahead. You can play the role of parent to every child, because indeed see every child as your child. And then if we know better, we'll do better. And that brings us to this amazing show. Now, I have an amazing guest, one who's very beautiful. Guys, when she walked in, I'm like, is this a pageant? But I'm like, let me just be calm. Like that. Now, I have here with me, of course, the founder and CEO of FOSABA Center and Creative Hub, Osezusi Bolodeoko. Please forgive me for the name.
Oh, you got it right.
Really? So well. Do you think your name sounds Japanese? Osezusi.
Oh, I've heard different variations of my name. Trust me.
What's the worst?
I've heard that. I keep hearing that it sounds South African.
Yeah.
Then the Japanese. Then of course, because I go by Zusi.
Oh.
And Zusi is not something, it's not very common. It's Susie. So people call me Susie. Sometimes I just accept it. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Oh, that beauty. And then they're playing with your name. Girl. But now let's talk about this. Now, I know that today's topic is one that, to be fair, in this world, I know people like you who are passionate about what you do. You wouldn't like to label things as they are, because sometimes these labels, unfortunately, instead of just helping to, create more awareness and spread a message, it comes with a stigma sometimes.
Absolutely.
All right. So today's topic is the realities and the myths of autism. I'm afraid to say autism so as not to...
No. It's good. Let's call it what it is.
Okay.
Autism. And so many myths and so many facts that are yet to be uncovered. So that's why I'm here. And I have the authority to speak on this topic because I'm a behavior analyst and an autism specialist. Yes, I'm both certified.
Wow.
So
how? That's such it's such an amazing job, but it's one that entails so much research and time and energy.
Absolutely, lifelong learning, a lot of research. So what really is autism?
Yeah.
What really is autism, right? Autism is... I'm not going to use any terminologies. So I would like for us to look at the features. What can we even look at that we can say that, okay, this child may be autistic? Because, you need to assess a child before you can diagnose or say that for a fact
the child is
autistic. So what features, what things are we going to look at? So if you have a toddler, and we know that the toddler, let's leave it for 0 to 2 years, right? Or 0 to 3 years. And there are some milestones that, of course, these humans, these individuals, these infants are meant to reach developmental milestones.
Yeah,
and these developmental milestones are the milestones that will help us be, independent as humans, right?
Of course.
Like speaking,
mommy,
like
daddy.
Communication, mommy, daddy. So if at 6 months your child is not even smiling back at you, your child is not smiling, the things that the child, at 0 to 1 month, right? A child should even use their reflex. They should be able to find their tongue to their mouth, right?
Or their beep.
Yeah, or something. It's just reflex at then, right? But by the time they get to 8 months, they are more cognitively aware. A child should know that, there's my toy is there and I can rattle it. And if they don't do that, they don't even rattle back to you. They don't laugh. They don't smile. Humans, we are social by nature.
And we respond to love.
Yeah, you cannot see a child wanting to be alone. Like, I just want to be alone. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's weird because even if you say go, they will come to you in the toilet, anywhere
because they
you
want
are.
to even share enjoyment. If a child discovers something new, they are exploring the environment. They discover they want to share.
Mm-hmm.
And at a point, by the time they get to 12 months, you see that is my own. There's this, it's mine and mine alone. I'm not sharing.
Possessive.
So they're different developmental milestones. While you're looking at the innate, the ones that are meant, you're still looking at the ones that they need for school. So is the child at 3 classroom ready? Can the child be placed in the class and communicate, play with other children? Is my turn? Is your turn? Those are the things you look at.
Wow.
However, parents start noticing those things or noticing that there's a concern when there is no communication or there's no speech.
So delayed speech is also...
delayed speech is a big concern. And it's at the point, my point here is, at the point of delayed speech, discovering delayed speech, right?
Yeah.
A lot of other things you could discover to help your child on time for early intervention.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what really is early intervention? This is another terminology I don't want to...
Yeah.
What is early intervention? I'll use my story as an example, right?
Okay.
I have a set of twins, and one of them had delays in reaching some developmental milestones. Yes, I was a classroom teacher in an inclusive school as a then, and I could do certain things based on knowledge, but not every parent have this knowledge. And those things I did were like getting household things to just work with my child.
Really?
To enhance speech. Yes, of course I did do some trainings, but not as a professional I am right now.
But it's something that early intervention can help.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So
Really?
But when you are aware that this child is meant to be take for example a child that's tiptoeing, they start walking and they do not want their feet is not fully to the ground.
So they hear that back heel, the sole. They don't
put it to the ground, right? Yes, a lot of kids do it, and it's not supposed to be a concern. However, when they do it continuously for a period of time, and you see that this child does not mind being alone, being in a world of their own, you see that communicating can be an issue. They may have words, they may even have speech, but they are not even communicating.
Wow.
Contextually, right? Okay, what's context? They are not even communicating. Say,
like responding or telling you their
water.
needs.
If they want water, they can come to you and throw a tantrum, and you just have to guess and
you
guess.
You have to figure out what it is.
Okay, you see something like the tiptoeing. What I did, my son was doing that. Back to my story. What I did, which was really funny, as I then was, I got a physiotherapist. That's not what I would advise my clients to do now or my parents to do now, but that was what I knew as a then. And guess what? Because I'm a mother, I was doing something. And guess what? It did work. Yes, my son started putting his feet on the floor. I did stuff with him, speech, different things online. Why am I saying this? Remember I said that we don't want to put a label to it. As a then, I did not have any labels. I just worked with what I saw. So when you see a child that has not reached a particular goal they ought to have, is a cause for concern.
True.
Is a cause. So now, whether it is autism, whether it is ADHD, whether it is Down syndrome, whether it's dyslexia and all that, that's left for the professionals to find that. So if you have this feature, say you have a child who's seemingly very okay, very healthy, communicates and all that, but the child is struggling with academics. You don't know if it's dyslexia, you don't know if it's dyscalculia, you don't know unless the child is assessed. And perhaps the child also is on the spectrum. Maybe the child is on level 1 on the spectrum, so the child has all these other skills and the child can thrive or can survive in a mainstream just by masking. So it's unless you see these things and you start working with helping these children, then getting a professional's advice you would know exactly what it is.
Now, I love what you
I really do hope that I've explained
it
very
perfectly. Very, very. And I like
Right.
that you didn't use any ambiguous terms, anything complicated. You just laid it simple. And more so, you are talking from both experience and expertise, which is great. Amazing.
Thank you.
Now, you said something about a child wanting to be left alone. If a child is on their own and you were to go there, for a parent who doesn't know, maybe the child might have autism, you might go there and you might just want to play with the child. If you were to go over to a child who wants to, be on his own, would that child throw a tantrum like, leave me alone? Or would they welcome you like, okay, come and join me in playtime?
Oh, fantastic. So there's something we call, I mentioned it again, shared enjoyment, engaged play. So there's a difference. And there's something called parallel play.
Okay.
I can sit beside you. We find that a lot. I sit beside you and I'm using my phone playing my Roblox and you're using your phone. We're sitting together. People could assume we're playing. However, I'm playing on my own. You're playing on your own. That's parallel play, right? Then for children that are very young, right, they want to always share. When I mean share what they've seen. They may not necessarily want to give to you, but they want you to see that
just say, oh, look what I have.
Look what I have. And when they are alone, okay, the child is alone, you initiate, because you're a mom, you initiate play. Does this child know how to play appropriately? You give a child there's the early stages where I think that's up to like maybe 12 to 18 months where they put things in their mouth a lot,
everything
because
they see,
they're trying to that's exploration, maybe the teeth and all that. However, there is the one of you give the child different animals, dummy animals, and the child is putting it in their mouth, or the child is lining it up. Fantastic.
Yeah.
The child is lining it up on the street for everything you give the child lines up. So there's this
like an OCD. You always have to have it perfectly.
Like structure.
Yeah.
More like routine. I do it the same way. The child is comfortable wearing certain fabrics. And you will not know, because guess what? The child really cannot communicate in the way you understand. They will communicate by tantrums. They'll communicate by crying.
So you just have to
figuring out.
It can leave you drained.
And then there is another hypersensitivity or hypo, right? Because it is not autism if there's no what we call automatic behaviors, automatic reinforcers behaviors. Automatic behaviors are behaviors that you really do not need anybody to engage in. Like I bite my nails. I don't need someone to help me put my finger in my mouth.
To bite, yeah.
A child that sucks their tongue. They don't need, those are automatic behaviors. A child banging their head on the wall is an automatic behavior that they find reinforcing for some reason in their body. They like it, they enjoy it, so they'll keep doing it. They don't need you. So you have a child coming into this beautiful studio and seeing the fluorescence, and the child goes, I can't stay here. The child is crying, but you really do not know why. So you get a lot of cry at that age. You have a toddler that just keeps crying excessively.
It just seems like nothing can please them.
Yes, excessively, because they are uncomfortable. Something in the environment, that, it's not like their diaper is soiled. It's not like they need to eat. But
there's just a tantrum. They just don't find pleasure in what other kids would find.
They just keep crying. That's because there's probably a sensitivity somewhere. And you do not know yet. You're just saying this child is crying, but they do not know how to communicate it to you. So excessive cry is another thing to look out for. So we're looking at these things. I think I'm giving some pointers now, right?
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm just like, wow, because it's so shocking that these are symptoms that the average person would just say, this one likes his space. As a child, this one behaves like his grandfather, They say,
he doesn't want that. Especially in this environment, we get that even when parents then see, we understand the time it takes for the denial phase. We understand it totally. But the message is, every time that passes by without intervention is time wasted.
So speaking on intervention, early intervention, is it the cure or is the coping mechanism?
Okay.
What is it like?
I would say something, and this is what I say all the time, like an autistic child would grow into an autistic adult. An autistic child would start any therapy, of course, will grow into an autistic adult that cannot manage themselves, right? An autistic child that has received the right therapy, early intervention, would grow into an autistic adult that can maintain himself, that can maintain themselves and
independently,
and live a fulfilling life in the best of their capacity.
Wow.
Do you understand?
Wow.
So I would say that answers, as a scientist and as a believer, there is no cure. Autism does not need to be cured. That's another thing I want to leave here with. It's not a disease. It has nothing to be cured. It's a difference in the brain. And we'll have more and more autistic individuals coming into this world because they are a gift to this world. Their brain is a gift
and they're
to this world.
So uniquely talented.
Their brain. You want to see the most amazing brains? Meet an autistic individual. They're gifts to this world.
No,
so it's not a disease.
A disease.
It's something that you really need. I think it will get to a point where autism, another thing I'll put out here is autism. It's not good, it's not bad.
It depends on what you make out
of it.
It's like
life. It depends on what you make out of it.
Wow, I love that. Now, speaking about autism and talents, to be very fair, all the autistic kids I've seen, you can see my face.
Tell me about it.
Oh my God, they're differently and incredibly talented. Like, they can draw you at the drop of a hat. They have a mind that retains all the memories of everything. Like, you go out with them and the things you didn't see, they would repeat it and they will point it out.
You know what? In some countries right now, we're living in an era where I think people are proudly coming out to be autistic. Because
really?
when you look at the list of your richest men in the world, I kid you not, there are a lot of neurodivergents there. Well, I don't like using a lot. That means I like speaking with facts, but you could check. I can assure you that there are some neurodivergents topping the list, and Elon Musk is one.
I was gonna say Elon.
Yes,
I was gonna say
he's one of such, and I think Bill Gates is on the spectrum. Zach Zuckerberg somewhat on the spectrum.
Wow.
So,
but you know, that's a good thing because they are the ones who dare to innovate when every other person is probably still thinking, oh, you know what, I'll rather go with the crowd, I'll play safe. They're the ones who step back and do something different.
You know what? Let me tell you. The thing about these individuals is the environment, their parents. Kudos to every neurodivergent parent that's pushing. Yay! Kudos that's pushing, right? I have some amazing parents I work with, and once you work with your child is getting the right therapy. When I mean the right therapy, you're looking at the individual now. You're looking at the child. What does the child look at? What they like. They always have this creative skills. Use those things to enhance, nurture, and just help them attain skills that they will need
later on in life.
Guess what? You find that you start seeing the skills, and they'll start becoming the talents, and they'll start using this talent to make money for themselves. We have children at the center. I have a center, an ABA center, a special needs center in Lagos, Lekki Phase 1. Yes, we have children at the center that, they're geniuses. They transition to school after receiving therapy for a while. That does not mean that they are no longer autistic, but it just simply means that the behaviors that they need to be in school, they now have attained those behaviors. Okay, they didn't have speech. Now they have speech to a level.
Do they find it easier to then express themselves, to play with other kids without wanting to isolate themselves?
Okay. Oh, one thing about autism, it is a is this a social behavioral concern? So on the spectrum is broad. You have autistic individuals that are quite sociable, but you don't know if they are masking that. Oftentimes they are not. So can they communicate to have their needs met? Yes. And will they take to one or two people? Yes. We have adults that don't have friends. We have those adults that we call weird, and they are just living their lives, and they're just good living their lives. So I mean, we must not all be all chatty, you know.
Yeah.
But can they survive and thrive?
Yes.
You want them to flourish. So, and how would they flourish is when you can discover their innate talents. So the ones that can draw, expose them to the environment,
to creativity,
to the environment. When you see a child crawling towards the table to drum hit at the table, buy them a drum set
rather than saying, "Hey, stop that noise."
Encourage it, and then you find the skills. When I notice with working with those individuals, when they have something that they own, they're very good at. You make them know that, oh my God, you are great at this thing.
It boosts their confidence. It just makes them feel so good.
Like, this is me. I mean, there's this boy, Tabo Boy, that's Tabo, is an artist, and he is doing great exploits in the world, and he's autistic.
Really? Wow.
So
I saw this guy, there's the report on this guy who's autistic in New York. He was able to draw the city of New York. After just one helicopter ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm thinking, the average human cannot.
No, cannot. When you're looking at the best analytical skills, think of a neurodivergent individual.
Really?
You're looking at people that can really focus to the point that you see this my bottle here, we have different stones. They could tell,
beautiful
they will
bottle,
count,
by the way.
They will count the bottle, the stones, and they will get the exact number because they have that hyper the focus thing. They want to be focused on the thing, know it's the topic, be the best
themselves. Yeah, so they find out things. But the thing with being focused, would it come off as, being, just always wanting structure and order?
Yes.
Okay.
It comes up from the fact that that's how their brain is that's how their brain is wired. It's programmed to want structure. You see that one of the tools, as a behavior analyst, one of the tools we use to work with our children for them to even have a bit of flexibility is visual shadowing. So visual shadowing tells you the child comes to the center and the child knows that it's just like a timetable. However, this is really broken down. So they see the activities, pictures of the activities they are meant to do. They can, because of the level of independence we want them to have, they then can pick what comes first, what comes next, what comes. So we negotiate.
So they decide.
Yeah, so those things like that could help with a bit of flexibility. But oftentimes, autistic individuals like structure. They like to know that this is... It's like children, object permanence, when the
stability.
If the object, if I see it, is there.
You know how a child would drop a teddy bear and say no one should move, and if you were to move it, they would get upset.
Absolutely.
So basically, they just like things.
Structure, that routine.
But I like that because it shows they don't want any distraction because they're very focused.
It is great for adults because now we're trying to even we're doing we're doing a lot of mindfulness to be able to even listen to think about that thinking, right? But for children, you don't need that so much. You want them to be able to have other social skills. They should have social skills because we're social beings, right?
Yeah.
They will need to communicate with other people. They will need to. So if you don't push for that at that early age, because at the end of the day, they will still want to do their structured thing when they're adult. Like, I'm sure you've seen this movie on Netflix, The Doctor guy. How can I forget this guy? The doctor is autistic. This young doctor. Well, there's young Sheldon as well, but I mean,
is it Sigmund Freud or something? No,
I just
slipped. But you know,
I'm sure the listeners out there.
I love the fact that you've taken the time to break this down. Now, for someone who unfortunately might be listening and has a child who has autism, may not have been able to detect it early on. You know, some people would say things like, oh, if you're in a rural setting with little to no access to good health care and, you know, trainings and expertise, they would just think, oh, I had a strained child. Now, someone who's listening is thinking, oh, my child may not be strained. My child might just have autism, and that's fine. What can they do, especially if the child is maybe grown within the ages of maybe 7 to like 15? Is there do they still need therapy to manage? Would they still need some form of therapy?
I like that you asked the question, because it's something that is, it actually breaks my heart when we see parents that, some parents genuinely, they were worried and they went to different places, right? And we're told that, oh, nothing is wrong.
Nothing is wrong.
I was one of those parents, because I went to different, and oh no, your son is fine, you know, especially when there is no physical
symptom or indicator
feature to it, right? So some parents, due to that delay, they found themselves with a 5-6-year-old that's not had intervention, right? Then we have parents that sit and say, oh, they're in denial. Then we have parents that have no clue.
Exactly.
They have zero clue, and they just see that, okay. But what I would advise would cover all three categories, right? If you can start intervention by yourself at home, and how do you start?
Exactly.
You want to focus. It depends on the child's skill sets. And you want to focus on strengths.
Oh, so they need to highlight their strength to encourage
their strength, because you may be going the route of vocational instead of academics.